Hi, welcome to our videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with Nick Kalikas from MMAOddsBreaker.com. Nick Kalikas, of course, is a professional MMA odds maker, consultant for numerous high-profile sports books, and we're going to take a look right now at Johny Hendricks and Thompson from UFC Fight Night 82 that's coming up this Saturday. We're doing this video on Wednesday, Nick Kalikas, so these are kind of mature lines. Hendricks right now minus 210, Thompson plus 175 on the other side, and obviously this is a striker versus a wrestler. Thompson has great power, right? He could end this thing very easily with one punch very quickly and getting plus 175. I'm not exactly sure if Hendricks has the talent edge here on the ground to legitimize that big of a favorite line. I don't know. Where's the public been betting this, Nick?
Actually, Thompson has been getting the most action. Now, this line has been out for a while. I mean, it's obviously a big fight, so we've posted the line, and it's been getting action. Two-way action now at this point, but early on it was all Thompson action, and it's continued to kind of trickle in a little bit more on Thompson as well. So surprisingly to me, because Hendricks is one of those guys that arguably he could still be champion right now.
Sure.
So, I mean, he's at the top of the food chain. He's right there with the best in the division, and Thompson's kind of still climbing his way up to the top. He's done great recently. Obviously, he's kind of made a case for himself being in the title mix. So here's his shot to prove, hey, I'm here. I've gotten better. I've improved. I'm more than just your striker, and I'm ready for a title shot. So this is a big step up. I opened at minus 385 for Hendricks.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I
didn't see that opener.
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, I definitely overshot it a little bit. Again, there's a lot that goes into that as well. And one of it was, I mean, you're talking about a guy that is towards the top of the food chain, a guy that has tremendous wrestling, arguably the best wrestling at welterweight right now. And honestly, I mean, if you look at Thompson, he has been put on his back before in fights. I mean, and if anybody's going to do it, it's a guy like Hendricks.
And then he's in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hendricks fought a guy like Brown, which is similar. I mean, Matt Brown actually has a win over Thompson, but that was only Thompson's second fight in the UFC, so a lot has changed since then. Thompson's gotten a lot better, but Brown had some success on the ground with Thompson. After Thompson did start to gas out a little bit, Brown was able to get him to the floor and control him that way a little bit. Now, Brown just recently got defeated again by Hendricks, and the way that went was basically Hendricks having his way with him on the ground, getting top position and wrestling and grinding him out a little bit as well. So you have the MMA math thing going on here, which shouldn't really work. But honestly, Hendricks has a huge edge in wrestling, and that's what he's going to focus on here. He's going to try to get Thompson to the ground and kind of control him.
Yeah, it's always a bit tough for me to suss out these odds when you have like a wrestler with an obvious wrestling advantage as a favorite and trying to figure out what are the likelihoods of everything happening. I'm thinking though that maybe the under 2.5 rounds might be the way to go. It's plus 175, so you're getting big odds there. Obviously, I know why it's an underdog line there, but you're getting big odds. And Thompson could get subbed. Thompson could catch a lucky punch, or not a lucky punch, just a talented punch, and end it quickly. What do you think about maybe a shot with the under 2.5 at plus 175?
I think there's definitely a talk of value there for sure. I mean, you're on the right path, because not just the fact that Hendricks has the big advantage on the ground where he could possibly submit Thompson, but Hendricks also has that crazy knockout power to go along with it. He's got that wrestler's punching power, and he's one of the hardest strikers, hitters in the UFC welterweight division. So Hendricks can actually win this fight, even though he's facing another striker. He can win it by knockout. Now, of course, all of us know Stephen Thompson is a special type of striker. I mean, he can kick you, knock you out. He can obviously knock you out with his hands. He has many different techniques and many different things he can throw at you and knock you out. So the finish is possible, I think, under 2.5 rounds at plus money. It is probably worth a stab, because I don't know if I would necessarily lay the juice over. I mean, you got both guys that are capable of finishing the fight, but the background, the story about the wrestling and the impact that the wrestling will have in this fight, which Hendricks is going to want to take this fight to the ground.
Yeah.
And he's not really known for having great submissions or constantly going for submissions either. I mean, that's where the risk is for sure, because he could take him down, grind him out a little bit, and then even take him in deep waters. Thompson has never been in round 4, round 5, which obviously Hendricks has. So there's a lot, as the fight goes, a lot of question marks to be answered for sure.
Right, but if it gets into those rounds, I mean, I always sort of think of Hendricks as someone with some conditioning issues. Would that not be a concern for someone, or for Hendricks' game plan?
He does have conditioning issues, no doubt about it. Yep, I totally agree. But the weird thing is about Hendricks, he can fight tired in round 4. He could fight tired in round 5. It still manages to perform okay. So it's a little sketchy there. I totally agree and know where you're coming from. With Thompson, he hasn't really been there yet. And honestly, the early stages of his career, we saw that cardio wasn't the best thing for him either. So I don't know. I think both these guys are going to be tired if it goes in round 3, round 4, round 5. So we're going to probably see an ugly fight. But you have to favor the wrestler in that aspect, because it should get easier as the fight goes on to get the takedowns, right? I think Thompson, if anything, his best shot is winning the fight early on because he'll probably be able to stuff some of the takedowns and maybe land that knockout punch or kick and end it early. But as the fight goes, Hendricks is probably going to be able to take him down.
All right. So do you expect any notable public action or sharp action to come back in on Hendricks, or do you think that it's going to keep going? The line's going to keep getting driven down, maybe to 150, 130?
Well, I honestly, right now, there has been two-way sharp action coming in on this fight. There is sharp action coming in on the underdog. There's public action coming in on the underdog. There's some sharp action that now with the line decreased down to 210-ish, there is sharp action coming back in a little bit on Hendricks as well. And there's going to be some public action, I guarantee you, coming in Hendricks' way. And the line will probably float back up a little bit, if anything, I would assume. So this line, the sportsbooks, believe it or not, I mean, they could make up a lot of it by just kind of holding steady and kind of getting money back. And they have. So it's not as bad as it looks out there with the amount of money that's been wagered. And as you get closer to fight time, the limits do increase as well. So they'll probably be pretty close in this spot. But I think what we'll end up seeing is maybe the public giving a little bit of both guys respect, and we probably will need Thompson, or I should say Hendricks at this point, to come away with the decision. But it will be close. I wouldn't even sweat it too bad, honestly, as far as the sports books are concerned. And it is an intriguing fight. And it is a difficult one to pick, too, because now I think the value might be honestly, on Johny Hendricks, especially with the line drop.
Yeah. All right. So Nick Kalikas, let's give some recommended picks here. For me, I'd pass on the side. It's just a little bit too confusing for me right now. And at plus 175, I would take a shot with the under at 2.5 rounds. If it was, 125, 130, I wouldn't be so happy about it. But at plus 175, I think it's worth a shot. You're getting a pretty decent payback there for your bet. What would your pick be if you had to make a bet on this one, Nick?
I like that plus 175 that you're looking at, because I do think there's a reasonable shot of the fight ending inside, like you're saying. But I think at this point, I would maybe take a stab at Johny Hendricks at minus 210 a little bit first. But again, cautiously taking that shot because there's just so many question marks to be answered. One backstory also that you got to worry about, I know Hendricks has had some problems recently. I mean, there was talk of him actually going up in weight and starting to fight at 185. Now he's got a new nutritionist, and it seems like right now he's on point. Recently, a couple days back, he was about $173. So he's really close to making weight. He looks phenomenal as far as physically goes. I mean, so Hendricks looks to be coming in this fight in great shape, and the weight shouldn't be an issue at all. But I mean, floating around like that, when he's really not training after a fight, he does tend to blow up a little bit. I mean, up over 200 pounds, and he's dropping all that weight. So I'm not too sure how confident I am there either. So I would honestly make a small wager, depending on the line, on Johny Hendricks more than anything else now, because the wrestling will have an impact on this fight. I mean, Thompson has never faced a guy that's going to repeatedly try to grind him out. And at this price with the drop, I think there probably is a little bit of value, but I would tread cautiously.
All right, two-way action on this one from the public and the sharps. Nick Kalikas, as of right now, would lean Johny Hendricks at minus 210, and I would take the under 2.5 rounds at plus 175. Nick Kalikas, thanks so much. Talk again very soon.